The central piece of evidence used to establish the divinity of Jesus, the so-called Christian smoking gun, is the failure to produce his dead body. The ruling Romans, the Judean religious leaders of the day, and the Roman guard assigned to the tomb of Jesus all would seem to have plenty of reason to want to produce the body. The Romans and religious leaders needed to produce it to stop a rapidly growing religious movement, so bold that it claimed its leader was God incarnate and had ascended into heaven. The Roman guard, who the Gospels report feared for their very lives when the body was found to be missing, would almost certainly have been put to death for stealing the body. The Gospel of Matthew claims that the guards were paid off to say the disciples stole the body despite their sentry. So who then had motive to steal the body? Certainly the disciples of Jesus did.
The question that it comes down to is that if they had a conspiracy of silence to cover up the idea that they stole the body or Jesus didn't really appear to them, would they really go through a whole life of hardship and difficulty and torture and death without cracking, without really telling their secret? Chuck Colson has a chapter in his book, Loving God, called Watergate and the Resurrection, where he said that Watergate conspiracy fell apart in just 2 weeks. The whole conspiracy to obstruct justice and silence, just on the threat of a few months jail term, much less torture and death. People are very self-serving, and they don't like to undergo difficulty unless they have a sufficient reason why. And it seems clear that something changed the disciples from very fearful people, and they weren't naive. Thomas wanted to feel Jesus' hands and feet before he moved forward. And something transformed them so that they went out and spoke with boldness and lived with boldness. 12 people that were relatively uneducated turned the world upside down. And they said that it was because of the risen Christ.
It's pretty easy to make a body disappear. However, let me also point out that rabbinic Jews, that is to say, Jews of a period not much after Christianity, and at least according to the Gospels, Pharisees as well, believe in bodily resurrection of the dead. What Jesus does is something that Jews pray for all the time, resurrection of the dead. So it ain't such a big deal.
Obviously, Christianity could be, and still to this day, has possibility of disproof. I mean, if you had the ability of being able to stop the movement, if the Jews had the body, they certainly wanted to stop it. All they had to do was produce the body. If the Romans, and they wanted to stop it, and they certainly did, all they had to do was produce the body. So that if they had the body, they certainly, if they could have, would have produced the body. But even if some other possible explanation, and there have been many others that have been tried, and I think unsatisfactorily, but even if there could be some bizarre explanation that could be advanced, it's at least possible, if not plausible. You still have the experience of the disciples. They all saw that they saw the risen Christ, and that he appeared to them many times over a period of, say, 40 days after the resurrection. And it transformed them from very fearful people into people that went out and turned the world upside down, and all but one, according to tradition, died a martyr's death.
Of course, the issue of the missing body is critical because it is used as proof for the claim that Jesus was resurrected and sits at the right hand of God. Resurrection is the litmus test of Christianity. It is the issue that separates those who see Jesus allegorically, those who see him as a great worldly figure, and those who proclaim him to be divine.
As a Jew, I do not believe in the resurrection. The difference between the Jew and the believing Christian essentially is not on the crucifixion and not on the birth and not on the religious teaching, but it is on the resurrection.
His resurrection is witnessed not simply by believers, but by unbelievers. And indeed, the record indicates that supernatural events occurred at his resurrection, and that he was seen by more than 500 people.
Personally, I'm Christian, but so Jesus means a lot of things to me and like nothing to my friends. So I guess it really just depends on like who you are and what you want to make of your life.
I'm Jewish, so I mean, a lot of other people, I don't know who he is. I mean, Do you believe?
I've never met him, so I can't really judge him and all, so.